2country.net. Great artists.
Hang on to the boy, they don't make them like that anymore.
Great music.
But my favorite color is neon.
Great radio.
Let your love fly high like a bird on the wing, and let your love find
Continuous country favorites. This is 2country.net.
First of all, thanks for doing this. It's nice to talk to you on 2country. I guess a good place to start would be with that song.
Which one? I don't know.
What do you mean? The True Blood tune.
Oh, the one that people know. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
That's the one that sort of, I guess everybody here in the UK is going to sort of be. It's going to be the one that's forefront in their mind,
Sure.
isn't it? Sort of. And so, how did that song come to get written?
I wrote that song in, I think it was 2001, right after I just moved to Nashville. And the original inspiration was, I moved to Nashville to be a bass player. Had no ambition of being a country artist. I was a bass player by trade. And a singer-songwriter, but certainly not a mainstream country guy. And I was playing bass for this guy that was working on getting a deal. And he was jacking me around on my money. And he owed me some money. And that doesn't, I had child support to pay and all that jazz, so I wanted my money. So and I was listening to Steve Earle's record. What was that record? Right after he got out of the joint, had Hardcore Troubadour on it and all that. I Feel All Right.
Yes, yeah.
Listen to that record, and this Poor Boy Blues is on that record. And if you listen to Poor Boy Blues and then put on Bad Things right next to it, you'll go because it's very much that meter. I just made it minor chords. But the original idea was, I'm going to do bad things to you, which is how most people still think the song goes. It's not how the song goes. It is how it started, because I was going to go over to his house and move the furniture around,
One word makes all the difference, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because I realized as I was singing, I was like, wow, I sound like a sexual predator this way. You need to make this more consensual, so you change that preposition to with, and all of a sudden, it's no longer 15 to life, It's a date. It's a big difference.
One word.
Yeah.
Makes a difference. So written in 2001, the show went out in 2008.
8. Yeah, the record came out in 2000. Recorded it in 2004 for Sony. Record came out in 2005. The song went out to radio in the States. Failed miserably. No one played it. We went and played it on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno in 2006. It got on iTunes in 2006 as a single of the week. iTunes loved it. And Alan Ball, the guy who did the show, discovered it then. 2 years later, he pulled it back out, used it for the show. And so, yeah, almost 10 years after it was written, it's an overnight hit.
And a game changer or not?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, I was back to playing bass. I'd lost my record deal and my publishing deal in 2007. I had a #1 as a writer for Josh Turner. And had some other cuts too. Steve Warner, some other people have cut some of my songs and co-written some stuff. And but I was back to square one, and I was playing bass in a cover band in Nashville. I wasn't even the lead singer, and just.
You come out of Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth.
Fort Worth, yeah.
Okay, so Red Dirt music would be.
Man, I left in 2000. I was in Nashville from 90 to 94, in Europe from 94 to 96, basically, and then back in Texas, 96 to 2000. And Red Dirt was just kind of taken off.
Okay, yeah.
And I never know what's going on. Whatever's actually happening, I find out about it about 4 years after it's over. So I learned about Red Dirt really is this happening thing. I learned about that in about 2006, sitting in Nashville. I always miss the party, man. I'm either too early or too late. I don't know what it is.
But Nashville's been kind of good for you. It's kind of.
Oh, it's been great.
4 albums in now, is it?
Yeah, I mean they're not Nashville albums, really. I have my own record company with my guitar player Dan Cohen. He has a record company and I have a record company, and we put out Jace Everett records and Dan Cohen records. That's what we do, and but it's great because we partner with our friends here in the UK at RAS, and we've been selling a lot of records. And having a lot of fun, and we don't have anybody telling us what to do, for better or for worse. And we make the music we want to make, and the people that like it come and see it.
And and that allows you, I guess, to be not the 3 chords and the truth, the stereotypical country music.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is overrated anyway, 3 chords is great, but I mean, you got to tell some lies if you want to have some good songs, man.
It's true for someone, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly. No, I mean, we still do some of that for sure, but yeah, absolutely. Since we're not worried about a specific radio format or a specific journalist format or a specific, red dirt or bluegrass, whatever. We love all those things. And we like to show up at all of those parties. And they don't let us stick around for long, but they'll let us, we can get a drink or two in before they run us off.
Okay, so where does your inspiration come from? I hear blues in your mix, a little bit of jazz maybe. So.
Occasionally, especially when I write with Dan, because Dan's this virtuosic guitar player. Man, we like those diminished chords and dominant 7 chords a lot, both of us. Yeah, man, for me, it depends on the record. This record was very lyrically driven, this new album, Terra Rosa, and the lyric kind of dictated where the music went. People always ask, does the music come first or the words come first? And yes, sometimes one comes first, sometimes they come simultaneously. It just depends on the song.
Okay, on writing this album, was it a group of people come together, or personal album? Did you go away and think about it?
It was primarily me. I mean, the bulk of the lyrics on this record are me. There's a few songs where I did co-write, and that would be more of musical co-writing, because sometimes I can get... It's cool to write with a different musician because they'll take me places I wouldn't go naturally, but they're places I want to go.
Yeah.
And so that can be really enjoyable. And that's more... But this record was very much my baby, it's... my obsession with religion and theology and all that. I grew up as a very evangelical, right-wing sociopath in Texas.
I understand your first contact with music really was through the church.
Yeah. I actually started in the Anglican Church, Church of England, Episcopals, but then we wound up when I was about 12 going to a more evangelical, charismatic thing because we wanted different music.
So is there any dissonance between the church and True Blood?
Well, not for me, because True Blood isn't real, and I might argue the church is the same. So I think there's mythologies in both.
Yeah.
Dissonance, man, that's a great question. I mean, to me, dissonance is the spice of life. I love dissonance. I love when things are diametrically opposed and pushing against each other. That's Leonard Cohen says it the best. You look for the cracks because that's where the light gets in,
Absolutely. That's certainly where the magic happens, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, man. It really is. Just taking the easy path is so tedious.
Okay, so this album, Terra Rosa, is kind of the most personal album. Do you have a favourite track on it? Or?
I don't, it's kind of like children, you might have a favorite, but you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. There's a couple I'm really enjoying. No Place to Hide is how the record started, so that's always going to have a good place in my heart. And then the song Beyond the Wall, which is where the title Terra Rosa comes from, is a song I'm really enjoying right now. But I like the whole thing, man. I really do.
Is there a song you like to perform?
I really love performing. We've been opening our shows with Love Cut Me Down, which I wrote as kind of a Johnny Cash train beat kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the record came out as like an Al Green, Marvin Gaye, spooky, weird thing, just because that's where it went in the studio. And it's just a live recording, basically. And that's fun to open with because I sing it in falsetto, and the audience looks at each other very nervously. It's like, hey, why is the Bad Things guy singing like Al Green? They get very nervous, and watching them say, okay, it's going to be okay, as the song progresses is a lot of fun.
Have you gone back to doing it as a train song, or is it kind of...
No. I do it all high, but then the choruses come back down into my normal masculine range.
It must be nice to have that kind of range, though.
Well, it depends on how the tour is going. Sometimes we don't play that song because the falsetto might be shot.
Okay, you're over here in the UK. You're doing a couple of dates in...
Yeah, we just did, Dan and I just doing duo dates. We did Celtic Connections in Glasgow. We did Newcastle, and we did Sheffield, and we're headed to Norway to do a couple of dates as well. We'll be back with the band in April to do a proper tour of the country.
Yeah, and you're starting up, again, you're then starting up in Scotland, coming down towards London?
I guess I honestly have not looked at the schedule, but yeah, they just point to me where I'm supposed to go.
Loads of great songs have been written over the years. Is there a song that you wish was yours, that you had written, recorded?
Oh, there's hundreds. Let me try and narrow it down to one. God, that's really hard to do, man. I'm such a fan of so many songs. I wish I'd written Hallelujah. the Leonard
Yeah,
Cohen
Leonard
song.
Cohen song, yeah.
Because it's a brilliant song, and it's made a fortune of money. So I'd be really proud of the work, and I'd be really happy with the cash.
There's at least 4 or 5 different versions of that song.
There's actually, I think, originally 20 or 22 verses to that song.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But he wisely didn't record them all.
The poet coming down to the
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
songwriter.
He's maybe my favorite lyricist of all time.
Okay. Do you kind of try and take some of his stuff into
Oh
your...
God, yeah. All my heroes, I try and rob blind if I can. Absolutely. What's the point of having them if you're not going to steal?
And I guess that's it's absolutely right to do so, isn't it? If you love somebody's stuff, then it's going to seep into your music.
Yeah, you're going to do it whether you know it or not. So I find it best to be aware of it, so that you do it with some degree of discretion and respect, and not just inadvertently rip someone off. Because you're going to.
Is there a book coming? Is there a book of Jace Everett lyrics coming at some point in the future?
I don't know who would buy it, but sure, I'll put one together. I'm sure my mum would like one.
Oh, it's funny, isn't it? Because the poet first, and then Leonard Cohen was poet first, then became musician. But there are thousands of books out there of his lyrics. I've got 4 or 5 sitting on my shelves at home.
Yeah, the Book of Longing is one of the best books that you're going to pick up if you care about poetry at all. Yeah. It's an amazing book.
Absolutely. I've spoken to a number of musicians, and they all seem to have a real eclectic taste. You may be a country, fit under the country umbrella somehow, but what do you listen to? What's on your iPod, for instance?
When I'm on the road, it's a pretty specific and narrow list. I listen to a tremendous amount of Brian Eno when I'm on the road because of sleep. You know, some of his ambient music from the 70s and even the early 80s, you know, I'll listen to it on the plane. I'll listen to it in the hotel just to kind of wind down. I listen to a lot of Brian Eno. I've been listening to a lot of Chris Whitley on this tour. Right. His last record before he passed in 2005. And then there's always Cohen and Cash and Cave. Those 3 are always on rotation because they're kind of the holy trinity for me.
Okay, I can understand why as well. But again, there's sort of 3 different.
Yeah, they're all 3 very different, but they're all 3 very good. And I don't care what the genre is. I don't listen to a lot of hip hop, but I love the roots, and I really like Common. I like the people that are really good at what they do, no matter what the genre is. So if it's a really good country artist, I'm gonna love it. If it's a really good rock artist, I'm gonna love it. But you know, most of every genre is crap.
Yep.
It's just and then I may be crap for somebody, and that's fair. It's just I really like excellence.
Certainly, I tend to agree. Music, the chart is not the place to go if you want to listen to great country.
No, and there'll always be last year on in mainstream country, I thought Casey Musgrave's record was brilliant. Yes. I love that album because it's just written so well, and the production is so tasteful and timeless. I really like it. There's a lot of stuff that beat her commercially that I just don't care for. That's okay that I don't care for it because people want different things from music than I do. Music to me is really important. It's not something I casually engage with. I don't just turn on the radio and drive around. You know, if I'm listening to music, I'm very focused.
Yeah, and I guess that's the way it has to be. If you're a music fan, you need to sort of be able to spend that quality time with the sound.
Yeah, it's intimate, man. It's kind of sacred. You got to treat it gingerly.
Yeah. And listen properly. Okay. Anybody you would like to record with, living on?
Oh God, so many. I'd like. I mentioned it to a Glaswegian paper the other day, Katie Tunstall, because she's from up there. You know, I really admire her a lot. I think she's super talented. God, really anybody. I love getting in the studio and just, as long as they're good, somebody to push me or challenge me. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. I'm embarrassed to tell you, but gotten to work with Chuck Prophet in the past couple of years, which was fun because I'm a big fan of his, and we've become mates over the past few years, and he was a pain in the ass to work with, but we had a great time. The work was brilliant.
Is that how you know somebody's pushing you because they're...
Oh, God, what a prick. And you can quote me on that. He knows it. That was his plan, to piss me off enough to get me to go in a certain... And it worked. We got some great records out of it.
So what do you hope people come away from your concerts saying? It's kind of...
Well, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be,
Works for me.
That'd be great if they just walk away saying that's not as bad as it could have been. I'm happy.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
Listen, I think it's your first time on 2country Radio. Is there
I think so. I think it is.
Anything you'd like to say to your public?
Thanks for listening. Thanks for letting me come back. You know, the country fan, in quotation marks, the folks who like Americana and country music in this country have been consistently so kind to me and so accepting, even when I go off on these weird tangents musically that stretch the boundaries of credulity about it being country or Americana. They still show up and give a damn and walk away with a CD, and me and my family are forever grateful for that. You know, you guys are going to put my kid through college and continue to feed me, and it's a big deal to me. I don't take it lightly.
2country.net. Find us on Facebook and Twitter.